Hi, Julie Jones from SSB Performance, Smarter, Stronger, Better Mindset Training. Here with this week's Mindset Made Simple Tip of the Week, brought to you by Game Day Sportswear. Anything you need with a logo on it, shopgameday.net. You'll see the phone number there. Give Kim a call. They can make you anything, and I mean anything. They're making me a big flag right now for our homecoming celebration at Baldwin Wallace, and I'm excited about it. It's going to be all the rage, but they can literally make you anything. So, shopgameday.net. Now, on to this week's tip. This week we're talking about sticks and stones and the words we use. And what would you think if everyone talked the way that you do? Whether that's outside your head or inside your head, or all of our heads. Last week we talked about the question, if everyone copied me, would I be proud or concerned? Well, I'm concerned, quite frankly. I'm concerned that if everybody copied me, that some days it would be scary, but I'm more concerned about what I read this morning as soon as I woke up. That at the Ryder Cup, American fans were ridiculing and heckling the heck out of particularly Rory McIlroy and his wife, who then got a drink thrown on her, talking about their marital issues or whatever, but they were being obnoxious at a golf course of all places. So much for course etiquette. But it's not just there. It's at an eight-year-old's game. It's the leaders of this country all over the place, talking in ways that are just unheard of. It's people that were holding in high esteem, saying nasty things about other people. It's the words we're using, and it's concerning. And if we ask this question of if everyone talked like me, would I be proud or concerned? Yikes. I know this, if everyone talked like me, the way I talk in my head sometimes, I would not be proud. I would be concerned. And I think that goes for all of us. So this week, we're going to ask another hard question. Last week, it was, oh gosh, that hard question of if everyone copied me, what would the world be like? This week, if everyone copied me, what would the world sound like? And of course, we have our good days and we have our bad days. But as leaders, we know, and as performers and athletes and business people, we know that words make a difference. Our language, the words that we choose matter. And that's today's focus. Language can either elevate or corrode confidence, culture, comfort, consistency, performance. All of those things can be shaped by the words that we choose. Whether they're the words that we're saying in here, the words that are actually coming out of our mouth, words matter. And eroding things is within our power. And is that what we really want to do? Here's some research that backs all this up, right? Research on incivility, which we see all around us. Turn on the news. You don't have to look far. Research on incivility shows that even small negative comments, whether it's just a snide comment here or a nasty comment here, doesn't make any difference, can cut performance. It can reduce focus. And obviously it damages collaboration. And I don't know about you, but collaboration in most of the things that we do in life, it's important. Life is a team sport. It is not an individual sport. We are not meant to do things all on our own. In fact, we can't. I often hear Jocko Williams say, Wilkins, whatever his name is. I'm sorry. I don't mean that with any disrespect, but I cannot think of it right now. But I often hear him say, I got here on my own. And I immediately think, no, you didn't. I certainly didn't get here on my own. None of us did. And we know that. And the words that we use to help us get places make a big difference in where we go. We know this. We don't have to look very far to witness that our words make a difference. I was very aware as a coach. I wasn't always perfect, of course, but I was very aware of the fact that the way that I spoke to our team and to my staff was the way that they were going to speak to each other. And we went through a little time where sarcasm was king. And I'm not really a sarcastic person. It just was sort of our culture for a little while. And it wasn't helpful and it wasn't fun. Even sarcasm, which is meant to be funny, puts a little bit of doubt in. Does she really mean that? Or is she just trying to play around with me? I'm not sure. So I'm going to be a little more cautious and a little less confident. Those kinds of things make a difference. Our words just don't just describe our environment, they shape it. They shape our environment. Last week or a couple weeks ago, we talked about the trap of comparison. And here's something that I have learned about myself over the years is that when I start to sort of pick at other people, or I start to compare and I start to hold myself up high, that's not a good thing, right? When we compare, we often put ourselves here and the other person there. And I feel like we're doing that in culture as well, too. If you don't believe this, then you are down here. You're not really worthy. And that is human, but it's just divisive. It's not helpful. And it's dangerous, quite frankly. When I use comparison as a tool as a coach, it is one of the fastest ways to just slice through any kind of confidence that kids have. Right? We hope that sometimes comparison, we talked about this, we can find something to compare and then say, oh, this is what she does. I need to do that. Maybe it'll make me better. But normally comparison eats away at confidence, and it shifts whoever we're comparing's focus away from what they can control. And it starts to make them sort of doubtful and sometimes jealous. And all of those things aren't good. But the words we use to say, hey, look what she does. Or I mentioned Audra in the comparison thing. It's like, did everybody really want to be like Audra? I don't know. I mean, Audra didn't want to be like Audra at the time. So instead of building confidence, sometimes it can corrode it. The words that we use sometimes pit people against each other unintentionally. And that's certainly not what we're going for as a leader. And the words we use in here pit us against other people. I find myself having words going on after I see things or hear things or, watch things that sort of all of a sudden I feel like I'm pitting myself against who? Who am I pitting myself against? But it doesn't feel good on the inside. And is it helping me focus on what I need to do to be a better coach or a better mother or a better human? No, but the words that get stuck in here and the words that I'm using, not helpful, not helpful. Even using language, which I've heard just recently, like, I hate my opponents. And we've heard leaders say that. We hear our kids say that. We hope that our kids hate our opponents so it makes them competitive, right? We want them to compete. We want them to be, against whoever we're playing. But when we talk about and we use those words, I hate our opponents, we're giving our opponents a lot of power. We're giving our opponents a lot of focus. We're giving our opponents a lot of thought. And as Amishi Jha, who wrote the book Peak Mind, great book if you haven't read it, she says we have one flashlight, meaning we have one thing to be able to focus. Dr. Ziegler used to tell us you can think one thing at a time. We need to be really, 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 really protective of that one thing. I heard Brene Brown say the other day that she thought she had like 10 flashlights and she could shine them all over the place and get all kinds of things done and focus on all kinds of things. Not true. One. And if our one flashlight is focused on the fact that I hate my opponents, guess what it's not focused on? It's not focused on what we need to do. And I don't care who said I hate my opponents or when we say it. The point is that when we're focused on that kind of language and that kind of speech, it doesn't help us do anything to overcome those opponents. It doesn't help us do anything to prepare better or to perform better because we're focused there and we're not focused on what we can control. We're shining a light on them and it's giving them all of our power. Plain and simple. Strong leaders and people use words inside and out that build up. Hard to do sometimes when we don't feel good. Hard to do when we're not feeling confident. Hard to do when we don't like our circumstances. But we know that we get to choose. We get to choose the words we use. We get to choose the thoughts that we keep. And when I think about this, when we think about strong leaders and how we're supposed to, use words and our posture and how that makes a difference in the words that we choose. Right? We know that research says when we're hunched over, we use more negative words. When we're upright, we use more positive words. But when I think about leaders and ones that use the words to help uplift, they set standards with their own actions. They set standards with their own words. And it makes me think of the saying that was originally attributed to St. Francis of Assisi, but I guess he didn't say it. And then I thought it was attributed to Martin Luther, and I've even used that quote. But they say, and I think about this a lot, especially right now, they are somebody in their teachings, this is sort of what they talked about, preach the gospel and use words when necessary. And I tie that back to saying that strong leaders and people set standards for how they talk, how they act, how they're thinking. And that bleeds out to the others. And sometimes you don't even need words. That's the point. But if everyone copied my tone, would the culture feel like encouragement or would it feel like comparison? Here's the performance link, because it's always linked to performance. Peak performance equals energy spent on execution, not drama. Or even better, a better equation, I think this is John Gordon's. Action minus distraction equals peak performance. Action minus distraction equals peak performance. So if my flashlight is over here on the people that I don't like, or the things that I don't like, or the stuff that I don't want to do, or the stuff that I'm talking about that is not helpful, then my flashlight is on the distraction. And my action is not as effective, plain and simple. When we use negative words about others, to others, about ourselves, to ourselves, that makes a difference. And it's a distraction, and it builds defensiveness, and it's wasted energy. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. When we elevate others, and when we elevate ourselves, we're free to focus and collaborate and perform. It makes a difference in here and out here, both. Let's think about the language we use when we're not feeling confident. Does it change? I bet it does. I know mine does. When I'm feeling confident, I'm not worried about stuff around me. I'm using words that are focused forward and talking about what I want. When I'm not confident, I don't know. Something we need to be evaluating. And even though I don't love the word triggers, we need to know what triggers that. What makes us get into that state where we are now talking in ways that really aren't who we want to be. Or whether that's, again, in or out, doesn't make any difference because it all bleeds to the people around us. That's when we need a plan on choosing what we want. Maybe we need a script. We need to go back to our implementation intentions. If I start to feel this way, then I start talking about this. I insist that I talk about what I want. Or we go into neutral thinking, as Trevor Moawad mentioned, and it takes what it takes. Because that is driven by that drives, I should say, the language that we choose. And neutral doesn't mean emotionless. It just means speaking and acting in ways that serve the mission, whatever the mission is at the moment, not the drama. Neutral language sounds like this. That's what happened. Here's what's next. That's neutral. That's what happened. Here's what's next. Facts. Facts, facts, facts. This happened. It was good or bad. Now we get to do this. Good or bad. No time to judge. Non-neutral language sounds like this. We're terrible. I can't believe that I did that, or you did that, or we did that. Not helpful, not forward-thinking, not directive. Nothing. It's useless. Useless language. Stop saying stupid stuff out loud, right? Rule number 1. One of these fuels our confidence, the other fuels doubt, and sometimes divisiveness or defensiveness or anything that doesn't help any of us around. So we're back to another week of uncomfortable questions. If everyone copied my words this week, would I be proud or would I be concerned? Do the words I use elevate our culture or erode it? Am I spending my energy on execution or on frivolous things that really don't matter, or things that I can't change now or maybe ever? The old saying, and I know my mom had said this to me probably numerous times, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I don't know. I think we know better than that now. Now, granted, we're not breaking bones, but as leaders, we know that the words we use, they stick. They may not be sticks, but they stick. They stick in our own head. We believe what we say over and over and over. Say something long enough and people start believing it. All you have to do is watch the news to understand that right now. But we're shaping cultures. We're influencing confidence. And we're either fueling or draining performance, our own and the performance of those around us. Words spread. They set tone. They set energy. And everyone's watching and everyone's listening when we're in charge or when we're the star or when we're on a team, whatever it is. The best leaders understand this and they choose words that move us forward, even when we don't feel like it. Is it easy? Absolutely not. Should we be aware of it? 100%. So ask yourself this simple question. If everyone spoke the way that I'm speaking this week, would I be proud or would I be concerned? I need to tattoo these things on the inside of my eyelids so I remember who I am all the time, who I want to be all the time. Not just when things are going my way. Not just when I agree with somebody. Not just when I watch a video of something that sort of riles me up and then my mind goes all different ways. But all the time. If I speak this way and someone else copies it, would I be proud or would I be concerned? It's a really simple question that has a really tough answer at times. So think about that. And if you would like to start some mental performance training with your team, Julie J at ssbperformance.com, one session, 3 sessions of in-person workshop, you name it, we can set anything up for you. And in the meantime, have a great week or not. The choice is yours.